Everyone surrounding Kankles McTaco Tits, who we refer to as Kanks, the dementia-ridden, batshit crazy president of the United States, everyone surrounding this man has the job only because of one qualification. They are world-class ass kissers. That's it. That is the only prerequisite that you have to have. And then added attributes to your resume. At that point, if you're a sexual abuser, if you've committed crimes, all of those are like assets for him to hire you. But the number one reason the majority of these flea bag bottom feeders have these jobs is not because they're qualified, only because they're qualified, dropping to their knees and kiss an ass. And Stephen Miller is the most unhirable, unfuckable man in the United States of America, only tied with Senator Raphael Lion Ted Cruz. And here's a prime example of what an obsequious little ass kisser this man is. Play the clip.
Let me just say, Mr. President, that this country was going to die without you. This country was going to actually die without you. That's what we were facing in 2024. We've been invaded for 4 years. Our communities were sinking. Our public safety had gone to zero. Cartels were running entire communities. Sex trafficking, child trafficking, labor trafficking was out of control. Overdoses were out of control. The cartels were claiming more and more territory. City services were buckling. This was a country on the verge of dying, and you alone saved it. And when you...
Okay, what's so chilling about this is a play out of Joseph Goebbels' playbook. This is the language that he used to describe Hitler. And yesterday I took some heat online for one of our I've Had It episodes for referring to Stephen Miller as a Jewish Nazi. But time and time and time and time and time again, he is verbally plagiarizing, which I think is one of the laziest things people can do. And it's diabolical. It's absolutely diabolical that he is plagiarizing and appears to be a student of Joseph Goebbels.
It's every time he has a news conference, you can see threads of Nazis. So don't call me a Nazi, but you're doing Nazi shit. And I'm just going to say this. I don't ever want to hear again how hyperbolic the left is. The country was dying. You saved it. Can you imagine if Rahm Emanuel said that to Barack Obama? The meltdown the right would have? I mean, that's fucking crazy ass shit to say that.
It absolutely is. Okay. Here is a video of a very proud criminal who's very proud of his crimes, that also is very proud of his countrymen's crimes. So you have a felon talking about being proud of other felons and the nice things they do for each other that cause them to have so much pride for one another. Play the clip.
Same day you established this task force back on January 20th was the same day you pardoned the January 6th defendants.
Yeah, very proud of that. Yeah.
Just last weekend, one of them was charged with allegedly threatening to kill House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. And a big theme of this task force has been allowing law enforcement to do their job and holding accountable people who go after law enforcement. Do you worry that your actions back on day one undermine what this task force is trying to accomplish?
No, you have...
Okay, he's really, really proud of pardoning violent criminals, a lot of which have already reoffended, a lot of which are child sex abusers. This is absolutely the way autocrats operate. They advertise their ability to be criminals, but nobody else's ability to be criminals, as a means to terrorize the public and to show them, if you commit crimes in our name, you will curry favor. If you stand up to us, if you speak the truth about us, we're going to have secret directives and have a secret arm of our Gestapo, and we're going to come after you. If you say something bad about capitalism, we're coming after you. If you exercise your right to be critical of any religion, particularly Christianity, we're going to come after you. So as deranged as a lot of this seems, and it seems like, God, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He knows exactly what he's talking about, because there is a playbook and he is following it to the letter.
I wonder, when he is told these people are reoffending, I wonder if it I mean, I don't think he feels any guilt about it. None.
Of course not.
But I wonder if he's like, I find that good because it makes me look like the supreme ruler I am, and I can do whatever.
I don't think he thinks that hard into it. I think with him, this is somebody puts a bright, shining object in front of him, pardon them all. And then he moves on.
Right.
Oh, my ballroom, I want to make it the biggest ballroom ever. 200 million, 350 million, great. And then we're going to move on. I don't know that this man has the intellectual bandwidth to stay with a point for a really, really, really long time, because he leads with ego and he also leads with protecting his insecurities. So I don't know, beyond just the initial bright, shining object boom, that he's spending a lot of time analyzing anything. I've never seen him able to do that. Actually, when he says a statement and then where a normal person would go on to analyze the thought, that's where he goes on to talk about ocean drugs and Hannibal Lecter and reverse bathtubs. Moving along, here he is pardoning more criminals. This one is a crypto criminal, and I believe if we survive this, we've got to do something about these presidential pardons, and we've got to do something about unchecked executive powers, because you can see these presidential pardons that are kind of a gateway drug for an authoritarian. He started off with pardoning all of these violent criminals, and then that just kind of broke everybody in the Republican Party after that to then go along with lawlessness. And I think this Trump example of pardoning the January 6th felons is a great argument to make, should our democracy survive, that the optics of that and the facilitation of that broke a lot of what were former law and order Republicans. And it was a gateway drug for these autocrats. Play the clip.
Today you pardoned the founder of Binance. Can you explain why you chose to pardon him? And did it have anything to do with his involvement in your
Which one? Who is that?
The founder of Binance. He has an involvement in your own family's
recent
crypto
one, yes,
business.
I believe we're talking about the same person, because I do pardon a lot of people. I don't know. He was recommended by a lot of people. A lot of people say that, are you talking about the crypto person? A lot of people say that he wasn't guilty of anything. He served 4 months in jail, and they say that he was not guilty of anything, that what he did, well, you don't know much about crypto. You know nothing about nothing, you fake news. But let me just tell you that he was somebody that, as I was told, I don't know him. I don't believe I've ever met him. But I've been told by a lot of support. He had a lot of support. And they said that what he did is not even a crime.
Okay. This administration is a pushback on accountability. And white, powerful men in particular have always been immune from accountability. And you saw where he called Caitlin Collins fake news. And Pete Hegseth sat there and smirked as he's talking about pardoning somebody who admitted his crimes. Accountability is something that men like this are reacting to right now. Accountability for the Me Too movement. They didn't like that. They want to be able to hit on women, sexually abuse women, or sexually assault women with impunity. They want to have the right to have the job first. They don't want a equally qualified Black person or gay person or brown person to have the one up on them. And you see this display all of the time. And what's so troubling for me about this is the president of the United States, and there is a generation of people forming right now, forming their moral compass. And this is the way he's treating a professional journalist. And that's just, he does that multiple times a day. And then you have a woman sitting next to him that gender washes that very sexist, cruel thing that he did to Caitlin Collins. And then you have the misogynist sitting on the other side to him, smirking when he did it, like, yeah, that's my guy. And this is a cultural shift in the United States of America. And this trickle down toxic masculinity is evident everywhere. And you see young people that are completely indoctrinated online into Joe Rogan, Barstool Sports culture, where they like this kind of stuff. They like the humiliation of people like this. They like if you're going to make me accountable, I'm going to demean you. And it's my demeaning of you, instead of it being called out, is going to be celebrated, because we don't want to be accountable.
Well, and it's my understanding that Trump and his crypto company has ties to this guy, like
Yes.
the guy he just pardoned. And one thing that I look at is all of these people that have been convicted of these crimes. This guy pled guilty. He said, yeah, I did this. And Trump's up there saying, oh, no, he didn't do it. But that's here nor there. They have levied, all of these criminals were ordered to pay restitution and fines into the billions and billions and billions of dollars. And Trump is saying, in addition to the fact that I'm pardoning you, you don't have to pay any of these fines. So the United States has lost out on billions and billions of dollars that would have been paid because of criminal conduct. And now these criminals get to keep the money.
Okay, and then moving along, it's very important that we keep the pressure on hypocritical MAGA Christian, little Moses Mike Grinder Johnson. And if he is the big Christian that he proclaims to be, one of his number one actions in Congress should be helping the sick, should be helping the poor. Instead, he seems only interested in helping billionaires so that he can get out of his day job and go over to his apartment where he lives with his evangelical pastor roommate that answers the door in his panties when Moses Mike comes home. And here is little Moses Mike Grinder Johnson talking about healthcare. And I want you to remember how much these MAGA Christians flex that they have the moral high ground, and how much better they think they are, because they think they are currying favor with Jesus Christ and God. And then they think we're fucking stupid. And I know this works with the, rural Americans, MAGA, mega church attendees. They like this level of cruelty. They're accustomed to this level of hypocrisy, but it doesn't work nationwide. And here he is basically saying that he opposes healthcare. Think about that. This man who will not shut the fuck up about what a big Christian he is, literally will not shut the fuck up about it. Basically saying here that he opposes healthcare. Play the clip.
If you have ideas and you have plans, why not have that out there to talk about in the public so the people can hear that debate happening? I mean, you could have committees in session right now.
They will, Caitlin.
Talking about this. I think the question is maybe
we
when,
need to get back to regular session so we can. No, we're not going to allow Chuck Schumer to play selfish political games and hold the American people hostage. We will not negotiate with legislative terrorists.
All right, pause it right there. This question is about health care, and leave that up because I have a couple of points. And he said he's not going to negotiate with legislative terrorists. The rhetoric coming from the MAGA administration, while at the same time telling us we can't call them fascists, saying that we can't say the parallels with them in Nazi Germany are breathtaking. While he calls, and listen, I'm no fan of Chuck Schumer, but to call him a legislative terrorist is beyond the pale. And then secondly, I want to highlight how blush his cheeks are yet again.
I was going to.
And in my opinion, this man is having a physiological reaction to multiple things at a time. Now, granted, there at CNN, they could have put some rouge on him, but that looks, it's consistent even when he's at the White House and he probably hasn't had his makeup done. I think he's to some extent feeling this. He's feeling the embarrassment knowing that everybody knows that he, does gay stuff at night. That cat's way out of the bag. And then he knows as he sits there and stands up and lies every single day, he is having a reaction. So he's sitting there just blushed all the time because he is feeling it. At some point, he will no longer blush. And that's when we will know he's turned into a full-blown psychopath like Marco Rubio. You may remember at the beginning days of Trump 2.0, Marco Rubio, you could see it on him. It just, you could see the torture. Now he's a total psychopath, and he goes and he just delivers these illegal actions and these anti-American statements, these pro-Russian statements, this denying that Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal, et cetera. And now you just see he's completely capitulated to being a psychopath. Moses Mike Grinder Johnson is still in the, bargaining stage of being a psychopath, in my opinion.
Well, and he thinks that it's okay for him to do all this because, like we keep saying, he wants everybody to be a Christian because he wants to judge everybody. But the righteous, the absolute browbeating of Democrats about the Obamacare and how bad it is, they have had years, decades to come up with a new plan, and they don't do it. And all they do is bitch about it. Remember, 2 weeks, and Trump 1.0. So if Obamacare is so bad and you have a better plan, we should have seen it years ago, but they don't have one.
First and foremost, Obamacare is more popular with Republican voters than it is with Democratic voters. Secondly, they want to completely do away with any sort of government-assisted health care. Now, Obamacare was an homage to the insurance industry. It was nowhere near what progressives wanted. It was, Obama wanted a single payer. Rahm Emanuel thought it was a bad idea. So they did what corporate Democrats do, and they gave a big French kiss to the health insurance industry. And because they thought that they could brand it Obamacare instead of the Affordable Care Act, that was Republicans jockeying this to try to play the racist card to the base. But most of the people that have been on it have enjoyed it. And it goes back to my argument that like when FDR governed and he made government programs that provided services for American citizens, they are wildly, wildly popular. But the Republicans' desire for healthcare is far more insidious than anything like this. It goes even beyond wanting to bend over for the insurance industry. The Republicans' hardcore plan for healthcare is to completely not have it for the poorest among us. And so they have long had their sights on, long before Trump, on Medicare, Medicaid, as well as Social Security. They do not like these services. It's a ricochet from FDR's great success. It's the reason there is a 22nd Amendment. And most of these programs are wildly popular with Americans. And this is what drives me crazy, because the Democrats, you hear Chris Murphy talking about the Democrats have to step away from corporate interest. We see the national popularity of Zohran Mamdani. You see Bernie, AOC, and they fill arenas. And we still have these cowardice leaders in the Democratic Party. And I'm talking specifically about Cory Booker, Hakeem, and Chuckles, and they are still beholden to corporate interests. And there is a through line that can get a triple Trumper to vote for progressive Democrats. And that through line is affordability in making government work for everybody. But you have bipartisanship support among Republicans and Democrats when it comes to corporate PAC money, when it comes to AIPAC, when it comes to the pharmaceutical industry, the healthcare industry, and I can go on and on and on and on. And those industries are always going to, at the end of the day, favor the Republican candidates more, but they just hold the Democratic candidates hostage so that they don't get a real progressive in their seats that really does something that the people stand behind. And I think it's just so worthy to note that Zohran and AOC both have triple Trumpers that have crossed over that vote for them. And that through line is an economic populist message. And I just want to leave everybody with one thing. Brian Tyler Cohen, he quotes Caroline Leavitt, "Nothing will be torn down. It won't interfere with the current building. It pays total respect to the existing building, which I'm the biggest fan of, and that's Donald Trump." So he's just proving here that they lied before they tore down the East Wing. And I just want to say this with the most seriousness that I can. They're going to do this exact same thing with the elections. They're going to say we're going to have free and fair elections. They're going to say that everything's on the up and up, and they are going to lie, and they're going to cram it down everybody's throats. As sad as that is to see that with the White House, it is the perfect metaphor for the way they are going to tear down every pillar of integrity, honesty, free and fair elections that remain. And they have every intention to do that. So in the interim, what do? You listen to pro-democratic podcasts, you amplify those, you comment on them in the algorithm. On social media, please, these people, these fascists, they own all of these social media sites. You have to share, you have to regram, you have to retweet, you have to stay engaged. It's going to take a lot of us, and we are in the fight of our lives. But every time you feel despair, just know that they know. That's why they did the whole propaganda stunt after the No Kings March. They know that they are underwater in everything. Authoritarians are not popular. Their policies are not popular. Dismantling democracy is not popular. And so we have to keep the pressure on and think about our American brothers and sisters that fought for desegregation back in the 60s, that walked on that bridge, that walked with their black and brown brothers and sisters. And this is our moment to stand up for this country. And we have been through darker times, and this is a very dark time, but it is not the time to descend into nihilism. You have to stay focused, you have to stay alert, and you have to build community, because we have to defeat this. I do not want to see this country go the way of Russia or go the way of some 2-bit dictatorship for these fucking dorks, these fucking depraved dorks. All right, that's all we have for this episode. We went a little long. Please subscribe and like our channel, and we'll be back later with more news.